What's going on, everybody? My name is ZealetPrince and welcome back to yet another reaction video. And today we're finally getting to Poppy Playtime Chapter 4, the story explained by Super Horror Bro. Super Horror Bro has been my continuous insight into Poppy Playtime's story as to what's been going on, what's going on with the characters, explanation about the monsters, the lore. I've been reacting to Super Horror Bro for a long time now since I started reacting to Poppy Playtime stuff. And they have been a big help with me understanding what the heck the story is entirely about and everything else. So I really recommend you click the link in the description below and give Super Horror Bro some love. But before we get into this video, there is something I have to ask you guys, and it's going to be in the community post too as a vote. If things go well by the time I'm reacting to the bunch of videos that I'm reacting to right now, I should be on schedule to do some major long reaction videos. And I plan on reacting to Tobias and the Arcane Merchant, possibly sometime this week when I'm recording this video. And if everything does continue to go well, I will start recording probably later this week. But before I do that, I have not seen the previous installment of the series with Toby. I forgot the exact name of the video itself, so forgive me. I have not seen that video in ages, so I don't really remember much about it. And if you've been a viewer of my channel for a very long time, you know there is a rule I do not break. Or if I've watched the video, I will not rewatch it for a reaction video. It is a one-time and one-time thing only, as I will not be able to fake reactions whatsoever. I hate doing that. I do not like doing that. And the only time I do that is if I accidentally don't hit record when I'm halfway through a video, and I've done that before. However, in this case, I'm willing to bend the rule quite a bit, because I have not seen that video in years. And I thought about rewatching it in my off time, but I don't have the capacity to watch it and not do anything else but watch it. So, this one time, and possibly one time only, I might be reacting to it. But you guys have to vote for it in the comment section. Not only in the comment section, actually, in a community post that I will be posting the day after I record this. Well, at least by the time this video comes up, because this will be the first video I react to out of the videos I've done today. That'll be going up. So that community post should be out by now. Go vote. And by, I think, later this week, depending on the final votes, I will do a re-reaction, and then we will do Tobias and the Arcane Merchant. So I wanted to just say that and get that out of the way, because I've been contemplating it for a little while ago now, since I said I would be reacting to it. And I want to do things with the knowledge in my head of me recently watching it, because I really don't remember that much except for certain plots from that video. I don't remember everything from start to finish. I just choked on my own tongue. But let me know in the community post if you guys want me to react to it. I will definitely do so if you guys want. So let me know either in the comment section of this video or when the vote comes out. It should be out by now, at least. If not, just spam me in the comment section and I'll put it up, because I will probably forget. I'll probably have to set the schedule for it after I'm done recording here. But regardless, I just wanted to say all that, as I am keeping my promise to reacting to Tobias and the Arcane Merchant. I just need to re-educate myself, that's all. And I think we should do it together. So, with that being said, pushing the Thomas stuff to the corner, we are getting into the meat and potatoes of Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. So with that being said, all of that being said, let's get into this in 3, 2, 1, boom.
Hey guys, Super Horror Bro Mike here, and in today's video, we journey deeper into the depths of a Playtime Cove factory, as we take a look at the story of Poppy Playtime Chapter 4. This video will walk you through the narrative events of this latest entry in the Poppy Playtime franchise, as well as explaining some of the mysteries contained within by taking a look at various notes and audio logs. However, theory talk will be reserved for future videos. The purpose of this story explained is to summarize the story on a surface level, condensing the events of this sprawling chapter into one easily digestible video. So sit back, relax, and let's explore the story of Poppy Playtime Chapter 4.
Yeah, because I have no idea what the hell is going on. Follow the red smoke after the event of Chapter 3.
The chapter begins as we continue our descent with Poppy into the depths of a Playtime Co. factory, leading on directly from the cliffhanger ending of Poppy Playtime Chapter 3, where Kissy Missy was stranded on the floor above, attacked by an unknown assailant. Poppy explains that she must embark on a rescue mission to save Kissy, but tells our protagonist to continue with their mission to try and stop the prototype.
Her face cracked?
She warns us that this area of the factory is more dangerous than anything we've encountered before.
And we're seeing human corpses.
Careful, down here.
It's the first time.
It's not like anything you've seen above. It's not trying to hide what it is. It's hell. And Playtime wanted it to be.
Poppy instructs us to follow the red smoke pipes as they will guide us to our intended destination. She also explains that she has allies down here that can aid our character in their quest. And so our hero sets off alone as Poppy returns to the upper levels to save her friend. Following the pipes, our protagonist makes her way through a nearby cave system, where they discover a note documenting—
How extensive does these tunnels go? It's a freaking toy company. This is one thing I don't understand when it comes to this franchise. Yeah, it's a toy factory. How far down does it go? Jesus Christ. I know it's also like a research wing, but Jesus, how far down?
The flammable properties of a red smoke. The gas will explode if it comes into contact with a naked flame, and this seems to be exactly why Poppy has rerouted the red smoke in the previous chapter.
To destroy this place, I'm guessing?
We emerge from the caves into a horrifying toy graveyard, where the bodies of smiling critters are stacked in gruesome heaps as far as the eye can see. This appears to be where Playtime Co. dumped the bodies of failed and deceased experiments after they no longer served a purpose for the company's twisted research. At the far side of this area is the entrance to the prison. However, before our hapless hero can enter, blinding spotlights halt their progress and the doors seal shut.
Oh, great.
They are then attacked by hordes of ravenous huggy toys and must repel them with a trusty flare gun. After the attackers flee back into the shadows, our protagonist must locate an alternate path inside.
Alright. The prison.
As we continue to explore the graveyard, we come across several journal entries left by one of the orphan children at Playtime, a 12-year-old named Riley. Riley lost her parents in a tragic accident and then became part of Playtime's Orphan Adoptive Initiative, a shady cover-up which allowed a company to conduct horrific experiments on the orphan kids, under the guise of an adoption program. We learn that this was indeed Riley's fate. She was deemed a suitable candidate for testing and eventually ended up in the body of a living toy. These notes explain the morbid process of transferring a human into a toy body, and how the procedure was both physically and mentally damaging. We later find the remains of what we assume to be Riley, guarding a key to the prison train, which she hid in an attempt to stop her fellow orphans from meeting the same fate that she did. The prison is—
You know, we've actually never seen what they actually look like underneath. Because we assume it's all just, you know, plastic and maybe a few bits of organs here and there. No, I never actually considered how much extensive surgeries would go into creating these toys. Never thought about it in that way.
Is where many of the orphans were held captive until they could undergo surgical procedures to turn them into living toys. It is also a location where many of the bigger body experiments were locked up for observation and testing. After cutting through the cave system once more, we come across a train station leading directly into the prison. At this moment, we get a call from our mysterious friend Ollie, who warns us of the dangers ahead.
Hello, Ollie.
Hey, it's me again, Ollie.
Everything you've seen out here, the piles, the dead, they all came from inside. Believe me, everything Poppy said about this place is true. It's hell.
While exploring the station, we stumble across a VHS tape, which records a conversation held between two prison security officers. From listening to this conversation, we get a sense of just how cruel and twisted Playtime Co. was in regards to the treatment of the orphans and living toys they became. Take a listen.
You know what we get in the East? Toys banging on the walls, crying for their parents, their counselors, whatever. It goes all day and night, and it just wears on you, you know? Know what we get in the North? Things. Whatever they aren't people anymore. Their cells might as well be cages. They are animals. Sick. Twisted. Just instincts and anger. That's all that's left of them.
Our protagonist powers up the train and steps inside one of the holding cells tethered to it. The door slams shut behind them, and they find themselves trapped inside. Then, a TV screen lights up, and a sinister voice can be heard.
Now what's this? Do I feel something squirming its way beneath my skin? An invasive foreign little germ. Oh, well, little germ, let's make a game of you.
That voice reminds me of something. I don't recall what it is. It's not Saw, because that's the theme I'm getting here. But it was a particular voice from, I think, a video I watched a while back. Probably not even recorded to. That sounds just like this. I can't remember for the likes of me what it was.
This is the voice of the Doctor, a mysterious overseer who seems to control everything down here. We are now trapped in his domain and completely at his mercy, as he begins testing us just like the orphans that came before. So, who is the Doctor? Long before the tragic events of the Hour of Joy, Playtime Co. had hired a brilliant scientific mind, a man named Harley Sawyer, who is known as the Doctor. As brilliantly gifted as Harley was, he was equally ruthless and cruel, a truly evil man who sought to further scientific research ahead of valuing human life. Harley was responsible for the majority of the human experimentation that took place within the depths of the factory. In collaboration with Head of Innovation Leif Pierre, Head of Research Eddie Ritterman, and Head of Playcare Stella Graber, Harley oversaw the creation of the Bigger Body Initiative, taking employees and orphan children and using them as part of a horrific surgical procedure to create living toys. However, from a tape we discover within Chapter 4, we learn that Harley Sawyer was a bit of a wild card and had been responsible for a number of blunders involving escaped killer mascots that resulted in the deaths of many employees and tourists visiting the factory.
Sawyer can't keep leading this project.
I'm not disagreeing. Huggy Loose in the Woods, that business with Catnap, the whole Stoll thing, and half a dozen other incidents. Right. And all of that pales in comparison to the theater incident. So, we can't kill the son of a bitch, but we need to knock him out of the equation. What do we do? There is one thing I can think of.
Leif and his cohorts were at a crossroads. They needed Harley's knowledge and expertise to continue their research and the creation of these living toys, but realized he was too much of a liability to keep around. And so they came up with a solution: to use Harley's own science against him and trap him inside a computer system where, in theory, he could do no further harm. Harley was put through a surgical procedure that divvied up his organs into various life support systems, all hooked into a Matrix databank. He now exists as a ghost in the machine. A new doctor named Dr. White then taking over his position as surgeon. This next tape chronicles Sawyer's awakening and realization of his unfortunate fate.
Oh.
Looks like he's waking up.
Where am I? What is this? Oh no. They didn't. Those backstabbing traitors.
From now on, you're here to give the lab boys answers when they need them, and carry out procedures when and how we tell you to. That's it.
You'll die for this, Leaf. When I get my hands on you, you're a dead man!
Harley was furious and felt betrayed. He vowed revenge on everyone who had wronged him and formed an alliance with a mysterious entity known as the Prototype.
Oh.
Together, the two plotted to put into play a plan, one which would allow the bigger bodies to overthrow their creators and run amok throughout the facility.
The Hour
This
of
now
Joy.
known as the Hour of Joy, where almost
he had
all the
involvement.
Playtime staff were brutally killed. We get a rough idea of how this plan was executed by listening to a VHS tape documenting a conversation between the prison warden and the doctor. The Prototype had escaped containment and was attacking prison security. The warden was the only staff member with security clearance to unlock the exits, but knew that he would never be able to make it to the surface in one piece. So the doctor manipulated the warden into handing over his access, by promising that, if he did, his survival would be guaranteed.
What? The Omni Hand. If you give it to me, I can get you anywhere. I'll have control over everything. I can shut some doors, open others. I can make you a pathway that leads right to the exit.
I don't know.
If you want to wait to get torn to pieces, that's your prerogative. But look at your immediate options, Warden. What choice other than this gets you out of here alive?
After the doctor gained access to the prison security systems, he was then able to release all of the other mascots from containment and grant them a path to the factory floor above. And so the Hour of Joy and massacre of thousands of Playtime workers ensued.
Jesus. Yarnaby. So that's what this guy is called.
Back to the current day, and our protagonist reaches the prison. They escape the holding cell and begin to explore this hellish locale. Here we encounter a new form of smiling critter, known as the Nightmare Critters, who patrol the prison halls. The doctor even uses them to test our protagonist's survival skills as a horde of these critters attack while we are trapped in a small containment area. Also within this area we come across the Red Hand attachment.
Hey, we haven't seen that
of
since
course,
chapter 1.
contains that all-important flashlight upgrade, which comes in handy as the prison is dark and oppressive to say the least. Following the red smoke pipes as instructed by Poppy, while also navigating a slew of death traps laid out by the doctor, eventually leads our hero to become trapped once more in an observation room. Here we are introduced to another of Harley's ill-fated bigger body experiments, a caterpillar-like creature known as Yarnaby.
Let's try our hand at something a little different. Oh, Yarnaby. Please, do keep making this enjoyable for me. I'll be taking notes.
I will go into more detail about the backstory of Yarnaby and other new monsters found within this chapter in an upcoming Monsters Explained video, so stay tuned for that. For now, our task is simple. We must use stealth and cunning to avoid Yarnaby as the fluffy but deadly monstrosity stalks us through the back rooms of this prison. However, it seems a mysterious benefactor is here to lend a decidedly stretchy helping hand, unlocking doors and triggering distractions around the environment to throw Yarnaby off our scent and help us navigate to freedom. After a brief chase, we manage to escape Yarnaby's clutches, at least for now. In the next room, we come across a VHS tape, which reveals a little more about the head of Playcare, Stella Graber, and why this seemingly pleasant woman became involved in playing a part in the Bigger Body Initiative.
Yeah.
You know, The project lead, Dr. Sawyer, wasn't sure about giving you that information in the first place. He thinks your affection towards those kids could be a liability. What do you think about that?
I took this job because I wanted to help change kids' lives for the better. Of course, these procedures are far from ideal. I cried like a baby when I read them. But I started looking past the here and now. Started looking down the road a bit. And that's when it clicked. What your researchers can do down here will someday help a lot of people out there. Including so many kids.
From this conversation between Stella and Leif, we discover that Stella was led to believe the experiments, while cruel in nature, could ultimately lead to helping millions in the future. It seems her good but naive nature was manipulated by people like Leif, who sold her on a false dream.
Yeah, because she was such a good character at the beginning. She did have initial
Heading further into the prison, our protagonist falls
changed.
down whilst attempting to inch their way across a narrow ledge, and finds himself stranded in a holding cell at the mercy of another of the Doctor's failed experiments, the reptilian Pianosaurus. But just as it seems their journey has come to its end, a mass of stretchy limbs spring from the darkness and destroy the Pianosaur before our very eyes.
Now that hit the spot. I haven't eaten in weeks. Hiya there, pal. Don't worry, I won't eat you. I'm Doughy. I was told to expect you.
This is Doughy the Dough-Man. While he is certainly capable of violence, Doughy is mostly docile, and we learn he is in fact working with both Poppy and Ollie to try and put a stop to the prototype's diabolical reign. But who is Doughy? Well, at the beginning of the chapter, we witness an advertisement for this Doughy character, who seems to be some sort of putty-based toy, fully malleable and able to bend and stretch into many different shapes. Following on from this commercial is home video footage of a boy named Jackie, who receives an action figure of Doughy as a Christmas present from his parents, along with a ticket for a tour of the Playtime factory itself. Unfortunately, this tour ended in tragedy. While exploring the dough mixing room, Jackie falls from a catwalk and lands in one of the mixing tanks, where he becomes infused with the very dough itself. Later on in the chapter, we learn that, after this accident, Playtime managed to resurrect Jackie as the living version of Doughy we team up with during this chapter. Jackie's parents receive a secret invitation back to the factory, where a Playtime scientist allows them inside Doughy's room. The mother is delighted to reunite with her son, even in this monstrous new form, but the father is a little more concerned. And his concern is well founded, as Jackie, now in his Doughy reincarnation, ends up killing both his parents in a fit of rage.
What?
Hey, you'll be okay, I promise. Mommy's only here to talk.
No, I don't want to talk. Get out!
Susan, I think we should leave.
Jackie, I'm staying right here.
The gentle voices lie. I know what they do. They lie, and they poke, and they hurt. Susan, get away from me!
Jack?
Hey, open this door!
Oh, God.
Susan! Please, open the door!
But why would he have done this? Well, you see, Doughy isn't just made up from one child, but rather 3 separate children infused together, and each of these children have their own personality and temperament. This information is garnered from a note and VHS tape found later into the chapter.
I thought it was just one person.
Which detail the other 2 children used to bring Doughy to life alongside Jackie. The first of these other 2 children was a boy named Matthew Hallard, who was both charming and charismatic. At 15 years, he was older than most of the other orphans, and so took it upon himself to look after them. However, he felt great remorse for the loss of his parents, who he'd lost in an accident he was unable to prevent. The second boy of the trio was a problem child by the name of Kevin Barnes.
The neural abnormalities noted in Dr. Newman's report are detailed in connection to behavioral issues demonstrated within play care. Trouble getting along with others, aggressive and often confrontational social tendencies, and an otherwise combative nature clearly relay that Kevin is, put simply, a problem child. What friends he does have, he's reported to have attacked in moments of intense play.
So Kevin's persona was most likely the reason why Dowie lashed out and killed Jackie's parents. Dowie inherited the kind nature of Matthew, the excitable personality of Jackie, but also the violent and combative qualities of Kevin, and all three of these personas now fight with each other within Dowie's mind. This makes him friendly, yet unpredictable, and confused about how to handle his emotions at any given time. A complex character, to be sure.
Yeah. Okay. Let's now with the rest of the
Dowie
story.
as he guides us deeper into the prison towards a location he refers to as Safe Haven. Due to Dowie's doe-like genetic makeup, he is able to slip through holes in walls and squeeze through prison bars with ease. On the way to Safe Haven, we are reunited with Poppy and a seriously injured Kissy, who barely survived her attacker, but thankfully remain alive.
Through the showers. Should be able to make it into the Safe Haven from there.
Jesus, Kissy.
We catch our first glimpse of the prototype, who seems to be a spidery mech-like creature, stalking Poppy and Kissy through the halls. It also appears that the prototype was in fact the entity who attacked Kissy during the finale of Chapter 3, and now has followed the duo into the depths of the prison. The three survivors finally reach Dowie's Safe Haven, where he is none too pleased to find they have led the prototype right to his door.
What's going on? What's... Kissy? Goodness. What happened?
We need to get her help. Now!
Poppy. Is that really right? Take her to one of the beds. I'll check the defenses. See if something's still outside.
Which is something. It's him! He's out there!
You brought him down? We'll talk about this later. For now, I'll make sure out there is where he stays.
Locking down Safe Haven.
Scout.
Kissy lays down to rest, while Poppy finally explains her master plan.
The orphans weren't killed during the hour of Joey. They were taken. They're below, in the labs. The prototype's home. They are alive, but sleeping. If we're going to free them, and stop the prototype, we need to plan for both. The plan is this. We'll fill the foundation with smoke, and line it with old mining charges. Then once you, me, and Kissy have freed the orphans, our friends here will blow this place sky high.
Blowing up the factory?
Our revenge.
Poppy plans to use the red smoke to blow the entire facility sky high, eliminating all trace of the cruel research and experimentation conducted by Playtime Co., as well as putting an end to the prototype once and for all. She also informs us that many of the orphan children are still alive, and currently under the prototype's care. Therefore, they must be freed and led to safety before the explosion is set off. She then instructs us to speak with Dowie so he can explain the next step to put this plan into action. Dowie leads us into the auxiliary power room, where he airs his concerns with Poppy's plan for revenge.
But I ask you to consider, if we throw everything away, everyone, just to kill the prototype, how much do we waste? I know the others might believe it's right, that we should bury everything, but let's just think about it.
Dewey values the lives of the toys under his care within the safe haven, and doesn't wish to see harm come to them, despite them having no possible way of life on the surface world. In order to redirect the red smoke into the prototype's lair, we must use a backup generator located within this very power room. The catch is that to use the generator, we must first access it with a grab pack hand known as the Omni Hand, and unfortunately,
Which the Doctor
said hand
has
is
right
within
now.
the possession of the Doctor.
I need you to stop the Doctor. To take his Omni Hand. We'll need it for the generator. And if you want red smoke in the Foundation, you'll need it too.
While exploring the safe haven before setting off to our next objective, we notice something very interesting indeed. You see there is a connection with the toys down here and Poppy. It seems she once lived down here with them and was a leader of sorts, but at some point was captured by the prototype and locked away in the case upstairs, where we first discovered her all the way back in Chapter 1. Unaware of her fate, the toys believed Poppy had abandoned them and that she is no longer to be trusted.
What's Poppy doing here?
I don't know, they just let her in.
Why? That's inviting a whole lot of trouble we don't need. I mean, how do we even know we can trust her this time?
We don't know, so let's just be careful.
We also discover one of the more intriguing VHS tapes of the chapter, simply labelled Ollie. This tape contains a conversation between Ollie and Poppy, where we hear Poppy in a distressed state as Ollie tries to calm her.
I'm nothing now, Ollie. No one. I'm a thing. And nothing they can do to me hurts more than that.
You're not nothing to me. You're Poppy. And talking with you like this, I know it doesn't make any of what they do right, but it makes me feel like a piece of me is still here. No matter how small they try to make it. I'm here, Poppy. For you, I'll always be here.
What happened to Ollie? Is Ollie not a human?
It seems as though Ollie was a true friend to Poppy, someone who she trusted while at her most vulnerable. And so our protagonist bids farewell to the safety of the haven and makes their way into the sewer system. Here they overhear a conversation between Dewey and Poppy, who are at odds with one another in regard to the execution of her master plan.
It's the best for everyone, Dewey, that no trace of this place is left. We agree to that.
We've starved down here. We've been hunted. And now you're asking us to burn everything? All of us? We've made our life protecting these toys. And they've saved us in more ways than one.
I wish there were another way, Dewey. But I just don't see it.
After navigating the sewer system, we emerge in a mine shaft.
Problems with trust.
As they explore the mines, our hero is once again ambushed by the relentless Yarnaby, who begins stalking them through the eerie tunnels and maintenance areas while they desperately try to restore power to the exit. After avoiding Yarnaby's detection and rerouting the power to the exit, our protagonist continues on, but just as they begin to leave, Yarnaby picks up their scent and gives chase. The protagonist uses a chain to swing across a fire pit as an eager Yarnaby follows in hot pursuit, inadvertently snaring itself on the chain in the process and catching on fire. Yarnaby then falling to its death in a blaze of glory. We then reunite with Dewey,
I guess that's the end of
and
Yarnaby.
unlock a door leading into the Doctor's lair. As Dewey opens the door, he accidentally triggers a trap set by the Doctor, but expels a freezing compound from a nearby pipe. Ice-cold temperatures are Dewey's kryptonite, as they cause him to freeze into a solid, immobile form. Luckily, our protagonist is at hand to shut off the compound, thawing out Dewey in the process. Dewey stays behind to recover, and so we continue alone. Soon discovering one of the dig sites set up by construction company Warrenbach, the Doctor's hideout is located directly above. As we explore this area, the Doctor begins taunting our hero and asking some intriguing questions about why they have chosen to return to the factory. Questions for now that must remain unanswered.
And to think Playtime had someone of such rare quality and never noticed. Funny. I can't say I remember seeing your face before, but I'm curious.
Yeah, we still don't know who we are.
Why come back? It can't be that a vague letter was your only reason. Was there someone you loved here? Someone you'd lost?
He also begins casting doubt about Poppy's good intentions, revealing that she knew about the plan for the Hour of Joy before the catastrophe even went down, and was working with the prototype.
Poppy told you her story, of course. Innocence is bliss. And she is oh so innocent. Did she tell you her part of the Hour of Joy? That she knew it was coming? Or did she leave out that crucial detail?
While attempting to survive the many traps laid out by the Doctor, we begin the process of shutting down his various life support systems by freezing Harley's organs one by one. Each of these life support systems is contained within various operating theatres the Doctor once worked out of while conducting his ghastly human experimentation. Before the Doctor grants access to his lair, he poses our protagonist a moral dilemma. A nightmare critter is trapped alive in a glass jar hooked up to the freezing agent. If we wish to confront the Doctor, we must take the life of this poor defenseless little critter. The Doctor argues that experiments like Dowie and Poppy wouldn't hesitate to do this, as violence is simply in their nature. But what about us?
It's your mission. The door will open. Or is maintaining the veil of your morality more important? Act quickly.
Of course, the choice is a simple one. We must take the critter's life in order to complete Poppy's mission and save the orphans. With the test complete, the Doctor grants access to his dominion, and so we head up the elevator for the final confrontation.
Confronting the Doctor.
After ascending the elevator shaft, we finally reach the Doctor's location and witness a giant electrical machine in which his main consciousness is contained. But life is never that simple, and there is one more trap the Doctor has in store. We are plunged into a dark pit by one of the many robots that Harley has taken control of, and find ourselves confined to the server room below. Here we must power up the exit gate by locating 4 fuses and plugging them into computer terminals in the central hub. All the while we are hunted by the Doctor's robot army. After surviving this ultimate gauntlet, our hero returns to the upper levels and finally shuts down the Doctor's life support system, vanquishing him once and for all.
Oh.
You saved.
With the access card obtained, our protagonist is now able to acquire
I thought he
the
would have been a much
Omni-Hand
bigger
needed
boss
to
fight
reroute
villain.
the red smoke and put the final stage of Poppy's plan into action, and so they head back to the safe haven to complete their mission. Upon their return, they are greeted by an excitable Poppy, who can't believe the mission was a success. She asks the protagonist to follow her to the power room, so they can begin preparations to divert the red smoke using the Omni-Hand. While speaking with Poppy and Dowie, the trio receive a troubling phone call from Ollie, who explains the prototype is heading straight for them.
He's outside! Ollie! He's outside! You need to distract him, Dowie. Please, keep him away from here.
Without the generator!
I know, but he can't get in here. Not now. Just buy us some time. Ollie, if you can hear me, work with our friend here. Aye, aye, Captain.
Dowie heads outside to try and distract the prototype, while Ollie guides the player through the 3 steps necessary to repair the generator. But we must act quickly, as while taking it offline to conduct these repairs, the safe haven's defenses will be shut down, leaving the place vulnerable to attack. With Ollie's guidance, the generator is soon repaired. However, Dowie is nowhere to be seen. Poppy instructs us to head to a location known as the Foundation, where we can plant the explosives and blow up the red smoke.
Head for the Foundation. Plant the explosives. Meet back here after. We'll go over what comes next.
A violent situation.
Our route to the Foundation leads the protagonist back through the mines and into a previously inaccessible area. Here they must avoid hordes of nightmare critters as they navigate the maze-like mine tunnels in search of 4 sets of dynamite. Each of these explosives must be carefully secured to 4 weak points throughout a filtration room where the aforementioned red smoke is being pumped. Upon redirecting the red smoke and planting all 4 sets of explosives, we are ambushed once again by those pesky critters and forced to flee the scene, taking a nearby elevator back to the mine entrance. Here we bump into Dowie, who survived his encounter with the prototype and successfully led him away. At that moment, an explosion goes off at the safe haven and Dowie rushes off to investigate. Upon reaching the hideout, we find it in a state of ruin.
Oh no.
The prototype managed to gain access to the safe haven and used an explosive charge to blow the place sky high. Dowie's friends now lying dead beneath the rubble. In this moment, he sees red, and the violent persona of Kevin takes hold.
He killed my friend! It all started with you. You and her. It was you who ruined everything! No, that's not true. They jump-started the generator. They destroyed everything! I'll kill you!
Dowie snaps and smashes the ground in a fit of rage. This causes a cave-in and he is crushed by a landslide. However, he survives, but is overcome by rage and takes on a new monstrous form.
Ooh.
Dowie can no longer control his emotions. Stricken by grief, guilt and anger, he begins furiously chasing our hapless hero as they race to safety through the winding caverns that surround the once safe haven. During this chase sequence, we can acquire a very secret tape, but we'll take a listen to that a little later.
Okay.
After a narrow escape from Dowie, we emerge at the dig site below the doctor's lair. Monster Dowie catches up to the protagonist, and with no place left to run, they are forced to fight. As Dowie pursues us, we hear the conflicted personas of the 3 children trapped inside him, crying out in pain and anger.
Jesus.
Mom and Daddy, I just want to go home. Just want to play a little longer. Too loud! Too loud! Hate her! Hate everything!
To defeat Dowie, we must grab canisters of
we
freezing
kill
agent
Dowie?
and place them in his path. These canisters then become stuck to Dowie's gloopy body as he passes over them. He must then be led beneath one of several saw blades located around the dig site, and the canister detonated using the flare gun. This freezes the monster in place, and then it's time to cut him down to size. Doing so enough times allows us to defeat Dowie, at least for now. You see, only moments after leaving this area, Dowie manages to reassemble once more, and grabs our hero as they make their getaway. Unfortunately for Dowie, he captures us in a crushing room, and so by freezing him here one last time, we are able to finally terminate the ill-fated experiment.
Can't trust anyone! The gentle voices lie! You lie! I tried to be better, to be who they needed. Smart enough, not good enough, not...
Oh my god.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Shortly after this confrontation, we discover an audio recording left behind by Dowie that sheds a little more light on how his splintered personality works. It seems he genuinely had good intentions, however exposure to increasingly dark and depressing events caused him to have trouble keeping his cool.
For the past few months, the fighting's been bad. Real bad. I've, seen a lot of stuff I probably shouldn't. It's been hard to keep my head straight. The others, they look to me to know what to do.
Also in this post-boss area, we find a red VHS player, where we can finally check out that secret tape collected as we fled from Dowie. The tape is an audio recording from Poppy, where she explains that despite her hatred for the prototype, she knows he is right, and the living toys can never leave the factory.
Prototype says we can't leave. Not now, not ever. I hate him, and I hate this place, and I hate that he's right. He explained everything, and he's right. What they did to us, we can't ever let it happen to us or anyone ever again.
The tape also confirms one of my own theories, that Poppy is in fact the daughter of Playtime co-founder Ludwig.
So it's been true this whole time.
I wish you were here, Dad. I could really use one of your talks right about now. You'd know what to say. When you were running this place, you always knew what to say. I miss you.
Wow, so it's been true this whole time. So we're at the ending now.
Continuing onward after these major plot revelations, our protagonist discovers a garbage chute and, with no other way forward, slides down into the unknown. At the bottom of this chute, they find Kissy and Poppy, who have sought refuge in the ventilation tunnels. Poppy desperately attempts to get in touch with Ollie, worried as to his fate after the explosion above. Poppy is furious that we killed Dowie, but before she has time to further elaborate, the phone rings and Ollie is on the line. However, he now sounds far more sinister.
Ollie! Something's gone horribly wrong. The safe haven...
Shelf ventilation block B6. Is this where you are, Poppy?
What?
Stay where you are.
It's not.
Closely. You're not going to run. You're not going to fight. The charade is over.
Who is this?
An obvious question with an obvious answer.
You. What did you do with Ollie?
I'm right here, Poppy. For you. I'll always be here.
We discover that Ollie is in fact the prototype,
oh
or rather,
my
one of the
god,
many voices it is able to mimic. It seems as though each victim of the prototype is amalgamated into its very fiber, and then becomes replicable to trick and lure in its victims. Ollie was once an orphan boy who befriended Poppy, but fell victim to the prototype long ago, and now is simply used as
So we've been talking to the prototype this whole time?
a tool for his benefit.
Oh, God.
The prototype goes on to explain that Poppy is important to him and should return home.
What are you going to do with me?
I've got something special in mind.
I prepared it just for you.
And this one, you will never want to leave. I admit, though, I'm disappointed.
After all that time in your case, I'd hoped you'd see things
Differently, don't you understand?
It's always been about you.
And we'll harm you. What we are. It's time to come home.
Poppy.
It's time to come home.
This raises the question, why is Poppy so important to the prototype, and what exactly is their connection? Desperate to avoid becoming a prisoner locked up inside her case once more, Poppy flees the scene, leaving Kissy and our protagonist to the prototype's mercy. The prototype has taken the detonators planted in the red smoke room and placed them all around the vent system, attempting to blow Kissy and our hero to bits. Kissy bravely throws herself at the protagonist and shields them from the blast. However, as she does so, the floor gives way and we fall into the depths below, tearing off Kissy's arm in the process. Picking themselves up from their fall, our protagonist ventures through the cave system they now find themselves stranded in. They soon locate an ominous chamber where the poppy flowers used in human experimentation are grown. At the far side of this flower chamber is a door and inside a VHS tape. However, no sooner than we insert this tape, the door seals shut and we find ourselves trapped. We then hear the voice of Head of Innovation, Leif Pierre, who explains this is the most secure area of the facility and that we are trespassing. The punishment is death.
This is the single most high security, high clearance section of the whole factory. When someone finds you down here, you will be shot. And before you get any ideas, don't think you can just sneak away either.
After the tape concludes, a familiar figure appears in the flower chamber outside. The return of Huggy Wuggy.
He's back!
Somehow Huggy survived the fall at the end of chapter 1, and now lives on in a hideously deformed state. He charges towards the door and begins pounding on it like a wild animal. What will our fate be now? Well, we'll have to wait and see, as this is where the story of Poppy Playtime chapter 4 draws to a close.
That was a lot more than I anticipated for this chapter. I mean, chapter 3 was crazy as it was, but the revelations here in chapter 4, saying the Ollie and the prototype are the same guy, Dowie, didn't actually know much about him going into this, and a couple of other creatures and other toys that we come across. We actually run into a lot more friendly toys here than we did in any of the previous chapters. And Huggy Wuggy's return, oh boy, still feral as always. But the prototype, the final boss is going to be the prototype, but we have only glimpses of what it looks like, so I'm curious as to what the final design is going to look like. And I'm saying this now because it's been theorized for a couple of years now since Poppy Playtime first came out. The prototype must have the consciousness of Leif Pierre, or is Leif Pierre, but no longer calls himself by his old name. I mean, why else would Poppy be important to the prototype? But with that being said, I don't know what else really to say because a lot of this was explained. Although I wish the Doctor played a much more bigger boss fight, other than just, shutting him down, and that's about it. At least from what I can tell here, it wasn't the most exciting boss fight. But either way, I enjoyed this. And I'm excited for when Chapter 5 is going to come out. Probably another year from now, because Chapter 4 took over a year to make, and Chapter 3 came out last year. So, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed today's reaction video. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next reaction video. Bye!